The second year of my marriage to a prominent Newport City magnate, I ran into Ethan again. On the same Cyprus, he splurged a fortune for his wife, Chloe, buying out a pearl shop. The moment he saw me, his expression froze. About what happened back then, I had my reasons. You know, if I didn't save your sister, Chloe, she would have died. He was referring to that life-or-death moment when the kidnappers forced him to choose between me and Chloe. Without a moment's hesitation, he chose my stepsister, Chloe. And I was taken away by those kidnappers and violated. I gave a faint smile. It's all in the past. As I turned to leave, he grabbed my hand, his eyes suddenly welling up. Did those men? I'm sorry, I won't look down on you. I'm willing to take care of you from now on. I pulled my hand free and flashed the massive diamond engagement ring on my ring finger. You're overthinking it. My husband and I are very happy together. Ethan paused. The pity in his eyes deepened. Summer, you don't have to pretend to be strong in front of me. So many media outlets captured it back then, how you were, humiliated like that. I know you even suffered from depression. Ethan's eyes were tinged with red, and his lips trembled slightly. It's all my fault these past 2 years. I was so focused on taking care of Chloe that I didn't get a chance to find you, but it's not too late now. If you don't mind, I can keep you by my side, and take care of you just like I took care of Chloe. The he spoke of was the very stepsister who mixed my mother's ashes from the cremation urn into flour and baked them into a pizza. I offered a sarcastic smile. No need. I'm doing perfectly fine. After 3 years apart, Ethan probably felt awkward too, trying hard to find a topic of conversation. Just then, Mr. Davis, the noodle shop owner, called my number. I walked in and picked up my bowl of classic noodle soup. Sitting at one of the outdoor tables, I began to eat. So many years had passed, but tea was still my favorite dish. Only because Mr. Davis, the owner of this noodle shop, made classic noodle soup that tasted almost exactly like my mother's. Perhaps too much chili was added, it made my eyes water. Summer, Ethan called out my name. Only then did I notice he hadn't left, standing there like a statue, staring at me. He approached me, his gaze falling on the bowl in front of me. Pity almost spilled from his eyes. You're eating noodles from a street stall like this? He then looked at my clothes with pity, and I finally realized he thought I was living a miserable life. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have betrayed you back then. His eyes were filled with guilt. But words are useless now. I know you've had a terrible time these past 2 years. I'll take responsibility for you from now on. Will you come back with me? Ethan even excitedly reached out to grab my hand. I stiffly pulled away. No need. You know Chloe and I are sworn enemies. There's no way we could live under the same roof. Ethan froze, his hands suspended in midair. He knew better than anyone the deep hatred between Chloe and me. If not for Chloe and Ms. Brooke interfering, my mother wouldn't have died in that man-made car accident. If not for Chloe's repeated false accusations, I wouldn't have been thrown out of my home. To this day, I still bear hideous scars on my back. Those were from the glass shards Chloe deliberately hid in my bedding. Summer, just then, his cell phone rang. Chloe's sugary voice drifted from the phone. Honey, why aren't you back yet? Did you sort out that pearl shop you bought for me? I'll be there in 5 minutes. Hurry and pick me up. Ethan hung up, looking at me as if he had something more to say. Before leaving, he slipped a business card into my hand. Summer, ultimately, I wronged you 3 years ago. If you come around, you can call me. I still have a suburban apartment, I can let you stay there without Chloe knowing. Before I could respond, he vanished. How interesting. Was he trying to get me to be his mistress? Daring to ask Mr. Alexander, a prominent Newport City magnate's wife, to be his mistress? Ethan must have a death wish. I shook my head, casually tossed the business card into the trash can, and continued eating my noodles. Mr. Davis, the noodle shop owner, came out, chuckling as he took off his apron. Mrs. Summer, do you know that young man who was just here? I smiled, pondering how to answer. The owner suddenly leaned in to warn me. You shouldn't get too close to him. I saw it earlier, he has the slave mark from the market. What does that mean? It means he was born a slave. To have survived until now, a person like that isn't just ordinarily ruthless. I put down my chopsticks, looking down with a smile. Indeed. He used to be my slave for 5 years, you know. I had saved him time and again. He promised to be good to me for life, even to give me his life. Yet, when forced to choose, he unhesitatingly picked my enemy. A slave who abandoned me to kidnappers. Mr. Davis's interest was instantly piqued. He even stopped working, grabbed a folding stool, and sat by the door to chat with me. Mrs. Summer, 5 years ago you were only 18, right? You were so brave then, daring to go to the market? That's Newport City's most famous, and most terrifying, black market. How did you dare go there at such a young age? Weren't you afraid? Of course I was afraid. But I had no other choice. 5 years ago, to find my mother's killer, I went to the black market. I heard 100,000 yuan could buy a clue. More valuable information cost more. I wanted to investigate if there was anything suspicious about the car accident where Mr. Miller quickly destroyed the evidence at the scene. I didn't uncover any clues, but I found Ethan. At that time, he was an unwanted orphan. A young slave, pushed around by everyone. Chains in the basement had chafed red marks on his ankles. The arrogant buyers watched him fight to the death. If 3 wild dogs, laughing raucously. He had numerous bite marks on his body, yet his gaze was still like that of a wolf. He captivated me instantly. That day, I spent 100,000 yuan to buy him. The dealer took the money and handed him over to me by his chain. He's stubborn and fierce. Don't take off the chain for a few months, be careful, he bites. Outside Shadow Market, Ethan stared at me warily. Seeing the fear and caution in his eyes, I felt a pang of sympathy. Remembering my own situation, I immediately released his chains. What's your name? Ethan. His voice was hoarse, and his Adam's apple bobbed. Master. Don't call me master. My name is Summer. I tossed him a piece of bread. From today, you'll follow me. I'll keep you alive and make sure you live like a human being. He ravenously devoured the bread, and the light in his eyes slowly brightened. For the next 3 years, I bought him a gold watch. Sent him to business school. I even entrusted him with half of the assets my maternal grandfather had left me. Just like in all cliched novel stories. We fell in love. I watched him display astonishing business acumen, each investment yielding 10 or even 100-fold profit. I saw my assets multiply continuously, with branch companies opening one after another. By day, we were perfect partners, conquering the business world. By night, he transformed into a hungry wolf, devouring me fiercely. Countless times, he held me tight, whispering in my ear, Summer, once I've established myself, I'll marry you in style. I believed him. Until I was thrown into an abandoned warehouse by kidnappers, a cold gun muzzle pressed against my temple. They demanded Ethan pay 10 million yuan as ransom for me. Ethan arrived, panicking, carrying a briefcase full of cash. Let her go. The kidnapper pointed, laughing, to Chloe, who was trembling in the corner. She was wearing a white dress similar to mine, her face stained with tears. Ethan, please save me, Mr. Ethan, Pi. CK1. The kidnapper patted my face. Choose her, and this little beauty, Chloe, goes to the market for us. The big shots there love innocent girls like her. If you choose Chloe, then your little girlfriend here belongs to us. Ethan's gaze flickered between me and Chloe. Chloe suddenly cried out, Ethan, save me. My sister is so strong, she can definitely escape on her own. I looked at Ethan. He once said my eyes were like stars, and he would never let them dim in this lifetime. I thought the answer was obvious, but merely hesitated for a moment before blurting out, I choose Chloe. The kidnapper whistled and untied Chloe. She threw herself into Ethan's arms, turning back to give me a triumphant smirk. He scooped Chloe into his arms and started to leave. I stood rigid, unable to even comprehend when he and Chloe had gotten involved. Ethan, don't go. I begged him, clutching at his pant leg. Ethan's steps faltered, and he turned to look at me, his gaze filled with sorrow. Summer, I'm sorry, I had no choice but to pick her. Chloe is so innocent and kind, she would die if she went to a place like the market. Wait for me, I'll come back to save you once I've settled her. But he wouldn't get the chance. Soon after he left, Mr. Alexander, the fearsome Newport City magnate, arrived. He lifted my chin. Still haven't figured it out? Summer, I told you he wasn't a reliable choice for a partner. He simply waved his hand, and a stack of photos was handed to me by his bodyguard. If you don't believe me, see for yourself. These are all proof of his infidelity behind your back. Each photo flashed before my eyes, piercing my heart sharply. Mr. Alexander's voice, however, continued. While he was swearing to be devoted to you, he was already sleeping with Chloe, your enemy. He said he loved you, that he could purchase a diamond necklace worth millions for you, yet he never spent 2 months writing 100 love letters for you, but received them. Not just 100 love letters, but also a birthday gift for every year from age 1 to 23, she has them all. Even when you were asleep, he would get up in the middle of the night and sneak into your sister's room. And now, at a critical moment, he decisively chose Chloe, abandoning you. Summer, can't you see it now? I remained unresponsive, tears silently streaming down my face. Mr. Alexander tenderly kissed away my tears. You should choose me. By the time the story reached this point, I had finished my noodles. Mr. Davis, the noodle shop owner, stared at me with a look of shock. He's a business prodigy in Newport City, isn't he? I can't believe he's so heartless. What happened next? I glanced up at him, a half-smile playing on my lips. If you ask any more questions, Mr. Alexander might just shut down your shop and kick you off Cyprus. As I spoke, I looked past him. A man, tall and impeccably dressed in a suit, was walking towards us, extending his hand to me. Gossiping about my wife's affairs, are we? Mr. Davis quickly offered a placating smile. It was just casual chat, Mr. Alexander. Please don't be angry. Don't shut down my shop, your wife loves this dish. Alexander waved his hand, and Mr. Davis retreated. Is everything arranged? He pulled me onto his lap. After 2 years of marriage, he was still as clingy as when we first started, refusing to let go. Even burying his face in my neck, sniffing gently. Summer, you can never leave me. I smiled and playfully slapped his hand. We're out in public, you know. Behave yourself. I'm your wife. Why would I leave you? Also, is everything arranged? Just 2 months prior, Alexander had bought this entire Cyprus for me as a birthday gift. I had been busy before and hadn't had a chance to visit. So, I used these past 2 weeks to vacation and take care of some island affairs. Alexander held my waist and nodded gently. Everything has been handed over. Everyone on the island knows you are its mistress. As for the tea pearl shop Ethan bought, do you want me to kick him out? Just say the word, and I'll have someone else take over. My gaze drifted to the distant sea. No need. He's irrelevant to me now anyway. This was the 2nd year of my marriage to Alexander. And the 3rd year since Ethan abandoned me. It took me a full year to process the fact that Alexander had betrayed me before I could fall in love and marry him. Now, as far as I'm concerned, he's just a stranger. Ethan had mentioned it when we met earlier. Chloe had recently developed a fondness for pearl jewelry. So, Ethan personally came to Cyprus to buy a pearl shop for his wife. Ethan had already brought Chloe to Cyprus. She was dressed in opulent attire, no longer the innocent girl she was 3 years ago, but exuding an imposing air of nobility. She was looking around the pearl shop when her gaze suddenly stopped at a certain spot. Honey, doesn't that woman look like my sister? Didn't you say she was thrown onto Cyprus by kidnappers 3 years ago? All those scandals the media reported back then, they were true. Do you think it's possible she's been working as a prostitute on the island for these past 3 years? No wonder she was so adamant about not leaving with you earlier. She probably knows herself that she's been used up by so many men. On his way here, Ethan had already mentioned running into Summer. He knew his wife, Chloe, was generous and would surely accept her sister. But he hadn't expected that, in such a short time, Summer would be sitting on a man's lap, delighting him. This was not the Summer he knew at all. Ethan's eyes reddened, and the fist concealed in his sleeve clenched tightly. I have to save her. Chloe's face instantly changed, and she grabbed his arm. Honey, what are you doing? Don't be impulsive. This is Cyprus, and we're strangers here. Do you even know who that man is? What if he's someone we can't afford to offend? We'd be ruined, wouldn't we? Ethan, his eyes still red, struggled twice, but Chloe held him in a death grip. Alexander held me by the waist, embracing me as if he couldn't let go. Wife, I just discovered a fantastic discreet luxury hotel on this Cyprus. How about we give it a try? Only in these 2 years of marriage did I realize Alexander was truly incredible, and incredibly romantic. Every time he found something that surprised him, he'd want to try it, almost draining me dry. But I couldn't resist such a large dog fawning over me. So, I gently ruffled his hair. All right, let's go try it. Soon, we got into the car, and the driver floored the accelerator, speeding away. The discreet luxury hotel certainly offered a variety of delights. The bathtub was filled with vibrant red rose petals. Wife, deep in passion, Alexander pinned me against the wall and kissed me. He was just about to reach for my clothes when there was a sudden knock at the door. Mr. Alexander, please release Summer. My heart sank. It was Ethan's voice. Didn't he go to pick up Chloe? Why is he here? Our intimate moment was interrupted, and Alexander looked displeased. Who is it? I'll get it. I held Alexander's hand, then opened the door. The moment Ethan saw me, he excitedly grabbed my arm. Summer, come with me. I didn't budge and shook him off. Mr. Ethan, didn't you go to pick up your wife? Why are you so persistent? And you followed me all the way here? I can't stand by and watch you get bullied again. Ethan, his eyes red, stared at me intensely. He seemed both guilty and regretful. 3 years ago, it was my fault. I thought leaving Chloe and coming back for you would still be in time, but I never imagined those beasts would sexually assault you repeatedly, and even upload the photos online. Later, I tried to find you, but no matter how much power I used, I couldn't trace your whereabouts. After great difficulty, I found a record of your depression diagnosis, locating you at a hospital, but by the time I got there, had already transferred. By the end, Ethan's voice grew humble. I can't imagine what you've been through these past 3 years. I was truly wrong, Summer. Come with me, please give me a chance to atone. I gave a languid smile. Go with you? Mr. Ethan, if I'm not mistaken, you're a married man, aren't you? 2 years prior, Chloe got pregnant, and Ethan married her. They held a lavish wedding, making everyone in Newport City envious. That night, I watched with my own eyes from Newport City's tallest skyscraper. Fireworks spelling out "I love" burst in the sky. Ethan's expression instantly flickered with panic, yet he stammered an explanation. But, didn't you say you loved me? You said we'd be together forever, no matter what difficulties or storms we faced. 5 years ago, when you rescued me from the market, you said you never treated me as a slave, but as family. Have you forgotten? I looked at him calmly, feeling that everything he said was as distant as a dream in my memory. Alexander suddenly cleared his throat and pulled me back into his embrace. Mr. Ethan, still doing well, I see. You come into my home and stare at my woman? Do you not want to live on Cyprus anymore? Ethan's eyes instantly cleared and he sobered up. Mr. Alexander, I apologize for the intrusion today, but Summer is my friend, and I intend to take her. Alexander's eyes held a playful glint. Just a friend? Why should I let her go with you? Ethan closed his eyes, then dropped to his knees with a thud. She is very important to me. If Alexander agrees to release her, I can give up 25% of Shin's shares. I'm not interested in shares, Alexander interrupted him, toying with my hair as he watched Ethan with amusement. I can let her go. However, first, let's see what price you're willing to pay. Ethan seemed to give up all hope, steeling himself. Anything I possess, Mr. Alexander, you can have if you want it. I have only one condition, grant Summer her freedom. Alexander's gaze turned dangerous. I sighed inwardly. Alexander would be anything but pleased, with another man coveting his woman like this. He secretly pinched my waist, a subtle, retaliatory, and jealous gesture. To think Ethan is still so infatuated with Summer. But I don't want any material possessions. Alright, Ethan, if you want to take her, I want you to shoot yourself twice in the kneecaps. Ethan snapped his head up, his face full of disbelief. Scared? I dare. The next second, Ethan pulled a gun from behind his back and pressed it against his own kneecap. Mr. Alexander, a man of his word should keep his promise. You said you'd release Summer if I shot myself twice. I was stunned as well. He looked up at me, his eyes bloodshot. Summer, look closely. This shot is what I owe you. Bang! Blood splattered onto the pristine cashmere carpet nearby. Ethan let out a muffled groan, cold sweat beading on his forehead. One more shot. He gritted his teeth. He shifted the barrel, and another shot rang out. The sound of bone shattering was clearly audible even from a distance. Alexander, sitting on the sofa, watched with a shifting expression. Mr. Ethan, I've seen your sincerity. Ethan lay weakly on the floor, kowtowing to Alexander, his voice muffled yet firm. Please, Mr. Alexander, let her go. At that moment, I couldn't bear to watch any longer and stood up. Release her? Ethan, have you perhaps misunderstood something? I made an intimate gesture, putting my hand on Alexander's shoulder. I am Mr. Alexander's wife. Don't you think it's a bit absurd to ask him to let his own wife go with you? Ethan abruptly looked up. His face suddenly turned ashen. What did you say? You're Mr. Alexander's wife? The city magnate's wife? Ethan's face was deathly pale and utterly ghastly. He thought I was joking with him. No, that's impossible. Summer, you're doing this on purpose, lying to me, aren't you? Is Alexander threatening you, or does he have something on you? Is he refusing to let you go? Don't be afraid, I'll protect you. This time, I promise. Ethan was so desperately trying to convey his determination to save me. But I just scoffed. Ethan, do you think everyone is as fond of lying and deceiving as you are? From the very first moment we met, I showed him the wedding ring on my ring finger and told him that my husband and I had a great relationship. He simply refused to believe it. This entire Cyprus is a birthday gift from my husband. If you wish to remain here, then adjust your attitude. Stop trying to take me away. Otherwise, please disappear from our sight immediately. As I spoke, I patted Alexander's shoulder, signaling that I no longer wanted to see Ethan. Alexander understood instantly and promptly issued an expulsion order. Mr. Ethan, please leave. As for those 2 shots you fired into your leg, they're a lesson for you, and consider it revenge for Summer from back then. As the bodyguards escorted him out, Ethan's eyes remained fixed on me, filled with unwillingness. What exactly happened? Summer, what did you go through? Why did you marry Mr. Alexander? I didn't answer him, but I added a note to the bodyguard. He lost quite a bit of blood just now. Make sure to find a doctor, don't let him die. But then I reconsidered. He bled far more than this back at the market. I thought that after that, Ethan would never return. But 2 weeks later, I unexpectedly ran into him again outside the classic noodle soup shop on Cyprus. Summer, I knew you'd still come here for noodles. Ethan must have been discharged from the hospital. He was leaning on a crutch, limping as he walked. Clearly, his gunshot wounds hadn't fully healed. What do you want? Seeing him, I lost all appetite for my noodles. Summer, I want to beg for your forgiveness. I want to explain what happened back then. Back then, I truly did fall in love with Chloe. Having been in the market for so long, I had never seen a girl as pure, innocent, and lively as her. Sh. She was unlike your decisive and assertive nature. Her kind of purity was something I could never touch. She was like a firefly, drawing me in, making me throw caution to the wind. But you gave me my life. I couldn't accept myself for betraying you. Not being able to save you back then. I've regretted and blamed myself for 3 whole years. As spoke, his eyes reddened again. I knew he was sincere. Or perhaps, there was a certain sincerity mixed in. But the moment he decided to marry Chloe, his sincerity towards me was no longer pure. I put down my chopsticks and smiled. You say Chloe is innocent. Then do you know that, despite her playing the role of a cute, innocent girl, her hands are stained with blood? Ethan snapped his head up, staring at me in disbelief. What did you say? Summer, I know you're blaming me for abandoning you 3 years ago. You can hate me, but Chloe did nothing wrong. How could you slander her like that? I was so enraged that I laughed. But I held my temper, simply staring quietly into his eyes. This is what you mean by wanting my forgiveness? See? You're so deeply in love with Chloe that you instantly get defensive whenever anyone speaks ill of her. Ethan, admit it. What you truly want isn't my forgiveness, you just want to ease your own conscience. To make up for how you wronged me back then. But, I want you to remember this, you owe me, and it's a debt you'll never repay, never escape, in this lifetime. After saying that, I turned and left, not even bothering to finish my steaming bowl of classic noodle soup. What bad luck. When I got back, I should consider having Alexander ask Mr. Davis, the classic noodle soup shop owner, to cook for me at home instead. For the next few days, to avoid seeing Ethan, I mostly stayed indoors. Every day, I listened as the housekeeper gave me a live report on the latest happenings on Cyprus. She reported that Ethan, the business prodigy, had bought a pearl shop for his wife. Everyone envied her, wishing, gee, they could marry a husband like that. I impatiently cut her off. Next topic, I don't want to hear about that. But to my surprise, that very day, the bodyguard at the door knocked. Mrs. Summer, there's a gentleman outside asking for you. He says his name is Ethan. I nearly choked on my water. I couldn't understand how he'd managed to track down my residence. Mr. Alexander's private estate. There aren't many people on this entire Cyprus who live with such grandeur. Ethan looked into my eyes and replied softly. Summer, I want to make amends. Even if you're not ready to forgive me yet, as long as you can find peace, I'll do anything. Ethan gripped the blessed amulet tightly in his hand. My gaze fell upon it, and my heart gave a violent lurch. For years ago, Ethan had fallen gravely ill, and even the doctors said he wouldn't make it. I arranged for the best doctors to treat him and I prayed to every god and Buddha. I even went on a pilgrimage to Mount, kneeling at every step, wearing out my knees, just to acquire this blessed amulet. He said he would wear it forever. Ethan was smarter this time, even using something from the past to stir my emotions. But I was tired. For me to forgive you, alright, 2 conditions. Divorce, and for 3 years, be my dog. Ethan looked conflicted, staring at me in disbelief. Summer, why must I divorce her? That doesn't conflict with my atonement. I waved my hand impatiently. If you can't accept it, then get out. Don't ever come to me again with your nonsense about forgiveness. The pain you caused me will never be worth my forgiveness. Ethan stood at the doorway, silent for a long time. Then, despondent, he left. I watched his disappearing figure and sneered. So, your sincerity is really that worthless. Speaking of sincerity, I used to believe in genuine sincerity between people. I believed Mr. Miller's sincerity towards my mother. Their story was a legendary tale within our circles. But that didn't stop him, as he got old. From divorcing my mother for his mistress. It led to countless ugly scenes and turned them into bitter enemies. He even went so far as to cause my mother's death. I believed in Ethan's sincerity towards me. I thought that after I saved his life from that hellhole, we would depend on each other, and he would love and protect me. Yet, for the mistress's daughter, my enemy, Chloe, he abandoned me during the kidnapping and left. I stopped believing in anyone's sincerity. Alexander was the only exception. He had been observing me for a long time. He knew when I went to the market. He knew when I cried heartbrokenly over my mother in the morgue. He also knew when Ethan and I conquered the business world. He had even cast admiring glances my way. To the extent that even that kidnapping was deliberately orchestrated by him, to prevent Ethan from finding me. For 3 years, he painstakingly spread so many false rumors to make Ethan feel guilty. Even now, I still think back to my wedding day. Alexander, holding my hand, walked me down the aisle and whispered in my ear with a steady voice, "From now on, no one will dare bully you again." From then on, I became Mrs. Summer, envied by all. But I often couldn't sleep at night, always remembering Ethan kneeling in a pool of blood. Waking from nightmares again and again, dreaming of Ethan repeatedly abandoning me to take Chloe away. Every time, it was Alexander who patiently held me, assuring me that everything was in the past. Summer, you can't doubt everyone's sincerity just because of one betrayal. These past few days, I'd often found myself distracted. Alexander seemed to sense what was on my mind and hugged me from behind. Regretting it? I looked at the tenderness in his eyes and shook my head. No regrets. I've long forgotten Ethan. He holds no weight in my heart. That being said, yet, when I saw Ethan again at the charity gala, my fingers tightened around the champagne glass. He was leaning on his crutch, his right leg clearly impaired. Beside him stood Chloe, smiling sweetly. I heard she was pregnant again. Seeing me, she raised her glass and walked towards me. "Sister, I never thought you'd be so fortunate, actually turning misfortune into a blessing by marrying Mr. Alexander." Chloe's smile was sweet. "This gala on Cyprus today is truly an eye-opener. Sister, I suppose you've been here many times, haven't you?" I didn't give her a pleasant look. "I don't have a sister." Chloe's smile instantly froze on her face. Feeling the unfriendly stares from everyone, she quickly lost face and scurried away. Ethan, who had been standing behind her, behaved as politely as a stranger, but only I saw his hand tremble slightly as he held his glass. Alexander put his arm around my waist, his grip neither too tight nor too loose. "Mr. Ethan's business seems to be doing well recently. I hear he acquired the land in the east of the city?" "Thanks to Mr. Alexander's good fortune," Ethan replied. Ethan lowered his head, avoiding my gaze. "I'll go check on Chloe first." Watching them leave, I calmly withdrew my gaze. "Let's go see what good food they have up ahead." I vaguely guessed Alexander's purpose in deliberately hosting this gala on Cyprus. Halfway through the gala, I excused myself to the restroom. As I reached the hallway, Ethan stopped me. His crutch tapped against the floor with a dull thud, and he spoke in a low voice. "Summer, please come with me." "I know I was wrong, I shouldn't have, Mr. Ethan." I cut him off, raising my hand to smooth a stray hair from my temple. My diamond ring glittered under the hallway lights, making it hard for him to look. "I am Alexander's wife now. You should address me as Mrs. Summer." He suddenly seized my wrist. His crutch clattered to the floor. "You clearly still hate me. Otherwise, why would you have married Alexander? Your eyes betray you." He lunged, pinning me against the wall, and kissed me deeply. I was startled by his actions. "Ethan, are you insane?" Ethan was like a madman who no longer cared about his own life. His wife was out there, flaunting herself, waiting for him, yet here he was, kissing someone else in the restroom. Enraged and humiliated, I slapped him. "Ethan, you're really something. Do you enjoy cheating so much?" Ethan didn't even try to dodge the slap, which knocked his face to one side. Yet, he looked like a child who had done wrong. "Summer, please don't hate me." "Hate?" I laughed aloud. As I pulled my hand back, my diamond ring grazed the back of his hand, leaving a red mark. "I'm doing really well now. Alexander dotes on me, and no one in Newport City dares to cross me. I get whatever I want. If he wanted to, he could casually give me an entire Cyprus as a birthday gift. He always puts me first, unlike you, who abandoned me at the most critical moment." The truth hit a raw nerve. Ethan's face suddenly turned ashen. I'm sorry, Summer. He stared at me blankly, then suddenly laughed, a laugh that was more like a sob. If you're truly doing well now and feel disturbed by me, then I'll leave you. Couldn't be happier. With that, I ignored him and turned to walk towards the ballroom. As I reached the corner, I looked back and saw Ethan still standing there, his back hunched like an old man's. Sure enough, after that banquet, I never saw Ethan again. The reason Alexander hosted this banquet was to help me confirm a lead, to uncover the truth behind my mother's car accident years ago. I had only mentioned it once, but he kept it in mind and took it seriously. Indeed, just a few days after the banquet ended, Alexander told me, we found it. Also, the surveillance footage from the accident scene had been deliberately destroyed. I've asked a few friends to recover it. Take a look. If everything checks out, I'll hand it over to your lawyer for you. Those who harmed my mother-in-law won't escape justice. I received the surveillance footage. I watched it meticulously, over and over again, gritting my teeth in hatred. It was Chloe and her mother who killed my mom. Back then, my mother refused to agree to the divorce. Chloe and Ms. Brooke tampered with the car my mother was driving, causing the brakes to fail. It was clearly premeditated murder, but my deadbeat father, Miller, immediately cleaned up the accident scene to help them escape blame. The scene was compromised, and for 3 whole years, no one could uncover the truth. I remembered 3 years ago, when the police and forensic experts classified the incident as an accident. But only I knew. The real murderers had been walking free all this time. They were all guilty of my mother's death. I wouldn't forgive a single one of them. What was even more outrageous, Chloe had deliberately put my mother's ashes into flour and made a pizza. When I discovered the cremation urn was empty, I went absolutely frantic, nearly breaking down. Chloe, however, feigned distress, her eyes reddening. I'm so sorry, sis, I didn't know that was a cremation urn. I thought it was flour. She knelt on the ground, begging for my forgiveness, but the smile playing on her lips was full of provocation. I wanted to beat her to death right then and there. Before my hand could fall, Miller slapped me to the ground. Chloe didn't do it on purpose. Can't you act like a proper older sister? If you cause any more trouble, get out of my sight. Later, I really did leave, leaving them to their perfect little family of 3. But now, Miller's business had collapsed. Why was he standing there with red-rimmed eyes, kneeling before me, begging for my mercy? Summer, you're Mrs. Summer now. Please, help Dad by pleading with Mr. Alexander. If things continue like this, I'm really going to go bankrupt. Chapter 9. I lazily gazed at my manicure and repeated the very words he'd once said. Isn't that just your own doing? When you helped Chloe and Ms. Brooke kill my mother, you should have known this day would come for you. Miller, do you really think your company's bankruptcy was an accident? It was all my doing. Miller's face instantly twisted in shock. Then he registered my words and erupted in fury, pointing at me and screaming about my filial impiety. But I just casually picked at my ear. Now I had enough power that I no longer had to listen to such barking. The very next day after Miller was dragged out, his company declared bankruptcy. As for his mistress, Ms. Brooke, like Chloe, she was also taken to court by the police. As a result, she was convicted of premeditated murder and sentenced to 25 years in prison. When she was arrested, Chloe stubbornly refused to accept the truth. It's a miscarriage of justice. We're innocent, all of us. How could we possibly kill anyone? It's all Summer. She pointed at me viciously. It must be her. She married the powerful and influential Mr. Alexander. She must be pulling the strings behind the scenes. She's a vicious wolf, lying in wait for years just to get her revenge. What's more, she had hidden a utility knife and lunged at me with it, but swiftly rushed forward and blocked her. The knife slashed across his back. Ethan let out a muffled groan and gripped the blade. Chloe, don't make things worse for yourself. People have to pay for their mistakes. Watching get arrested and taken to prison, her true colors finally exposed, Ethan was utterly filled with regret. Wounded and bruised, he knelt at the entrance of my private estate, apologizing repeatedly, his voice hoarse. Summer, I'm so sorry, I was so incredibly wrong. I was blind to mistake such a vicious murderer for a pure goddess. Ethan knelt on the ground, utterly broken, slapping his own face, again and again, as if the physical pain could somehow alleviate the guilt in his heart. If I could go back to the night you 2 were kidnapped 3 years ago, I would definitely choose you. I simply listened impassively and shook my head. It's too noisy. Have the bodyguards escort him away. I never believed in what-ifs, nor did I believe in afterlife. I only knew about genuine intentions and betrayal. I only knew that some mistakes were forgivable, but others, right from the start, were premeditated deception, and those were unforgivable. Later on, Ethan's company went bankrupt. The pearl shop on Cyprus was also sold off, passing through many hands. I heard Ethan, with his injured leg, disappeared from Newport City. Some said they saw him carrying cargo at the docks, others said he went back to the countryside. But I no longer cared about the details. Because and I were already living a happy and fulfilling life. Having him and his genuine heart was more than enough. As for children? I can choose not to have them if I don't want to. No one can dictate my choices about having children. And felt the same way, even though he was my husband. Thank you for watching today's story. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share it with your friends. We look forward to hearing your thoughts in the comments section. Feel free to share your opinions. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more exciting stories. See you next time.